Shalom, my name is Chaim Ben Pesach from the Jewish Task Force. We of the Jewish Task Force urge an immediate end to all foreign aid. We of the Kahanist movement, supporters of Harav Meir Kahana Zecher Tzadik Livracha Hashem Yikom Damo, the greatest Jewish leader in modern Jewish history, have for decades said that we are against all U.S. foreign aid, especially foreign aid to Israel. Foreign aid to Israel is a disaster for Israel. Israel gets less than $3 billion a year from the United States. Israel's budget is over $60 billion a year. That means all the foreign aid from the United States to Israel is less than 5% of Israel's budget. And in exchange for that so-called foreign aid, Israel is crippled economically, diplomatically, politically, and is forced to do suicidal things that endangers her very survival. It is insane for Israel to continue to accept this so-called foreign aid. Giving foreign aid to Israel, first of all, is unnecessary for Israel's economy. The best thing for Israel's economy would be if they cut off foreign aid immediately. It would force Israel's corrupt politicians to privatize Israel's state-owned industries. The Jews are the smartest, most brilliant, most creative people on the face of the earth. And if the Jews would simply liberate their economy and not have these state-owned socialist industries and socialist bureaucracy in Israel, the state of Israel would be booming economically, would be a technological powerhouse. Even though it's a tiny little country, because of Jewish brain power, it would be a technological powerhouse. But the shackles of socialism and bureaucracy and state-owned industries are what is holding back the Israeli economy. And that is only possible because of U.S. foreign aid. If there were no foreign aid, if that were cut off, they would be forced. Israel's corrupt politicians would be forced to start privatizing these state-owned industries and start liberating Israel's economy, which would be very good for Israel. In addition to that, Israel has the capacity to build her own weapons and build better weapons in many cases than any other country in the world because of Jewish brains. Yes, Jews are a brainy people. God gave the Jews a great deal of brain power. There's no question about that. I mean, you could say a lot, you may want to say a lot of things about the Jewish people, but when it comes to technology and when it comes to science and when it comes to creating things, they're not stupid. They're a brilliant people, and they could do brilliant things, but they're not allowed to build their own weaponry. They're not allowed to develop their own technology. They've got to buy everything from America as part of the military foreign aid supplemental legislation. The United States compels Israel to buy her major weapons systems from the United States and needs permission from the United States if she wants to build something on her own or wants to sell her technologies to someone else. If there were no foreign aid, Israel would not be under these shackles. And by the way, when I say the United States, it's not really the United States. It's multinational corporations that are screwing America and screwing the American people as well. They're also screwing little Israel. If there were no foreign aid, we wouldn't be in this situation. Israel could become militarily self-sufficient. Israel could build her own military systems. Israel could build the best jet fighters, the best missiles, the best weaponry anywhere in the world with Jewish brains, if not for the foreign aid restrictions that are placed on Israel because of this less than $3 billion a year, which is a joke for Israel's economy. That hole is what holds Israel back, believe it or not, from developing herself militarily, economically, and in every other way. And of course, Israel is very vulnerable to constant American pressure to commit suicide, because every time Israel wants to do something, you have American politicians like the jerk George Bush or or that Jew hater Bill Clinton or that peanut farmer, that Nazi peanut farmer Jimmy Carter, that ugly, filthy, stinking Nazi peanut farmer who's on the payroll of the Muslim terrorists, Jimmy Carter. They pressured Israel, and every time Israel wanted to do something, they would say, "Ho, you better do what we say or we'll cut off foreign aid." Big deal. Shove your foreign aid. If I were the Prime Minister of Israel, I would say, shove it. We don't want it. We won't accept another penny. Israel needs $3 billion a year. Benjamin Netanyahu, who was the Treasury Minister of Israel, cut Israel's budget by more than that in the past couple of years. Israel can easily do without it. This is insane. And what's even more insane is, in order to pass that foreign aid for Israel, all the Jewish organizations and the whole Jewish community gets mobilized every year to back the foreign aid bill. And in order to pass for the foreign aid for Israel, they fight for foreign aid for all these countries. All these Jew-hating, evil countries they fight for, including all of Israel's enemies, just so that Israel will get her $3 billion. And so in the end, the American taxpayers wind up spending hundreds of billions of dollars to paying off all of America's enemies and Israel's enemies. America makes loans in the hundreds of billions to third world countries that never repay even the interest on the loan, let alone the principal. The American taxpayers never see another penny from those loans that are made through the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund and all these other New World Order organizations that are destroying this country. And the Jews think that they've got to lobby for this because otherwise Israel won't get her $3 billion. So for the sake of Israel's puny little $3 billion, in the end, a big foreign aid package winds up passing, and all these other programs that are not even listed in foreign aid wind up giving huge amounts of money to all of America's enemies, to all of Israel's enemies, to all enemies of Western civilization. It's insane. It's unbelievable. End all foreign aid immediately. That's what we want. That's what we stand for. That's what we want. That's the best thing for America, and it's the best thing for Israel. Foreign aid does not help somebody who receives it if the person is a decent, civilized person. Foreign aid is like giving welfare to a welfare recipient or drugs to a drug addict. You're not helping that person. You're hurting that person. You're making them dependent. Dependency is not a good thing. You don't build a healthy economy with foreign aid, with handouts. You build a healthy economy when you have free enterprise and competition and innovation and entrepreneurship. That's how you build a healthy economy, not with handouts. Handouts is the worst thing you can do for an economy. Making people dependent on handouts cripples an economy, cripples a nation, cripples a society. That's what's happened to Israel. And all the foreign aid we're giving to all these Muslim countries enables the Muslims, together with all the hundreds of billions of dollars a year that we're giving to them to pay for their oil, which we should also become independent. We should become completely independent of their oil and find alternatives to oil. All of this money we're giving to the Muslims enables them to breed and breed and breed, and they're growing at an astronomical rate and having a population boom, and we're paying for it. And ironically, the people who lobby most for this are the Jews, because they think they have to do this so that Israel will get her foreign aid. This is insane. The people that you're giving foreign aid to are the worst enemies of the Jews and the worst enemies of Israel. What you're doing, what AIPAC is doing, is destroying Israel. They're cutting Israel's throat, these miserable little wimps in AIPAC. AIPAC is the so-called Jewish lobby. It should be called the Muslim lobby, because they fight for the Muslims. They don't fight for the Jews. They fight against the interests of the Jewish people. They're traitors to the Jewish people. They're the scum of the earth. They should die of cancer, these filthy traitors. And so, we in the Jewish Task Force want to mobilize all decent Americans, Jews and righteous Gentiles. By the way, you don't have to be Jewish to join the Jewish Task Force. Most of our members are not. And that's not because we intentionally attract Jews or Gentiles. We welcome everybody, and it happens to be that a lot of Jews do join, but most of the people who join are not Jewish. And we welcome all decent people to join if you want to save America, Israel, and Western civilization. And one of our main planks is that we want an end to all foreign aid. All foreign aid should end to the International Monetary Fund, to the World Bank, to the United Nazi Nations. All of it should end immediately. This is not good for America. It's not good for Israel. It's not good for Jews. It's not good for Christians. It's not good. It is not good for the world. It's got to stop. And we want to push for that. You see the address of our great website, and here's the address of our great forum. Lo, this is a nation that shall dwell alone and not be reckoned among the nations, it says in the Bible. The Jews are blessed when they don't depend upon foreign aid and handouts and are willing to be reckoned alone. That is the greatest blessing that we could have in the Bible. And all the anti-Semites that think they're hurting Israel by saying stop foreign aid to Israel, they're doing Israel a favor. The best thing you can do for Israel, and the best thing you can do for America, is end all foreign aid immediately. Stop robbing the American taxpayers. Stop creating dependency. End foreign aid now. Shalom.